I'm sure you remember wearing these things. And I tell you, the movie The Elephant in the Room by Emmy award-winning writer Eric Bork, starring Dominic Burgess, Sean Clier, and Alyssa Lemperis as Leah. In this film, a rom-com about what would happen if a liberal and a conservative, no, scratch that, a Trump supporter conservative actually got into a relationship. Let's pick a year. Oh, how about December 2020? What could possibly go wrong? Well, this film called The Elephant in the Room tries to explore that very question. I think it's a fantastic premise. And surprisingly or not, the film really got me in a lot of ways that I really wasn't expecting. Okay, so the masks, for one, brought back all of these memories because COVID happened from the time of this recording. It was about 6 years that COVID started to happen and things were changing in this country of a very, very volatile nature where people just could not get along at all. Now, personally, I love history and I like particularly the Civil War. In the Civil War, the period before that was called the antebellum. And what you had is a fraction of society, sectionalism, so to speak, where people in the North didn't trust the people in the South in the South didn't trust the people in the North. They literally hated each other for various reasons. Not only was it about culture and class, but it was about politics and ideas and who should tell me how I can live my life. And that was something that was powerful. Then it led to hundreds of thousands of people dying in a war, and additional strife after the war with Reconstruction into the Civil Rights Movement and even to today. And a lot of that carries over in the aspects of this film when it just comes to worldview and how you treat things. And so this particular film I'm going to review right now, it's out right now if you want to check it out on digital release. There's various outlets that you can watch this film, and I'll leave those links below. But the thing about this is, and this is different than a typical review that I normally do, I do more green screen behind me and talk more about this and that. I'm still going to give my rating and how I typically do it. And if you're unfamiliar with how I do that, click in the description below and you'll see a video in there which explains how I rate my movies. It's various categories and a weighted average and all of that. And I will go through that. And also, I will give you a spoiler-free review. But at the end of this, if you want to skip forward to that, there will be a spoiler section which will allow you to check out some opinions of mine which actually get into some actual plot points of the film that you may not want to know. So let's just dive into this film. So this film is called The Elephant in the Room, and it is, again, starring Alyssa Lemperis. She was from What We Do in the Shadows, and Dominic Burgess from The Good Place, and Sean Clier, he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And again, this totally explores the opposite sides of people. And what I like about this particular film is that the director and the writer, who's Eric Bork, does a decent job of getting you to believe that these two people could actually fall in love and have a relationship. It's not easy, but I like the way he frames it. And I will talk a little bit about that in the spoiler section of how it seems to work, because it will kind of spoil some of it for you. Just understand that the writing, I feel, is very, very strong in this film. But there is a lot of uneasiness in this because whether you're on the side of conservatism, like I am, a Trump supporter, like I definitely am, or a progressive, a liberal, a person who embroiders and embraces this woke sort of culture, essentially what this channel tries to, call out for, just that's what we do, destroying the woke culture. That's what we're all about. But if you are on that side of the fence, that's going to be a little uneasy too, because you're going to hear things that you might not have heard a lot. You're going to hear things in this film that the media has suppressed from you more than likely. You haven't heard the side of the Trump supporter side or the conservative movement side. All you're hearing, if you're listening to the mainstream media, who essentially shills for the Democrat Party. I mean, if you're on this channel, that's what we believe, and it's coming out more and more day by day. Then you're not going to understand the other side of it. So it's going to be harder probably for a progressive or liberal to watch this and sit through it. Even though us on the conservative side, or Trump supporter, or just people who just want lower taxes, we just want to be left alone. We want to be able to carry a gun to protect ourselves and our family. We want to decide what our kids learn in school. That may not necessarily be a Trump supporter, but that may be how you feel. But because the Democrat Party is lambasting you for any one of those positions, you feel you have no other choice but to support the Republican Party. But the thing is, it's easier probably for us to watch this film because we see both sides a little bit better. Many of us have come from that side, the liberal side, the leftist side, like myself. So we kind of get it. So I'd be curious to know if you are watching this or have seen this film and you are a liberal or progressive, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. And did you get any kind of, were you triggered in this film? Because there are some things in here that I thought would probably trigger somebody. And for me, I felt that the Trump supporter was kind of watered down. And to the defense and to the credit of the director, Mr. Bork, he essentially has to water it down because in 2020, there's no way you can get a hardcore Trump supporter and a hardcore liberal progressive together. It's just not going to happen. So there is something in there, an element in there that brings them together. And I'll say it here, even though it's not really a spoiler, you kind of get this from the very beginning, is the fact that Leah, who is the main character, she appears to be on the rebound. She appears to be needy, wanting somebody. She has this roommate who's helping her. She's a social media consultant. So she's really by herself and she's trying to help other people. But she wants to be in a meaningful relationship. And she just broke up with her boyfriend and all this somewhat drama. And she almost seems very pathetic. So when the delivery guy comes, and they're wearing masks, of course, and they hit it off. And character named Vincent, played by Sean Clier, he is a kind of guy who is someone who absolutely likes this woman, probably because she's beautiful. And he kind of falls head over heels with her. The conversation comes out that he is a Trump supporter, and they have ensuing the fight. And you have his mother is a hardcore MAGA supporter. And I will say this, I did end up enjoying this film. Okay, so with all that being said, let me jump right into my actual review of the film. For the story and depth, I give this film a 6 because it's fairly predictable, but I don't think a rom-com needs to be Citizen Kane. I don't think it needs to be, anything more complex than what it is. A man and a girl like each other. They get together. There's a problem. They either work it out or they don't work it out. But if it's a comedy, they typically will work it out because it's usually lighthearted. And so for this, I give it that. But I do give it credit for at least trying to address some of the more, I wouldn't say controversial, but I would say issues that are definitely not coming across MSNBC or CNN, for that matter, to people who are on the left. People on the right who see this, we think it's watered down, it's too soft. They're treating the Trump supporter like a pansy. He's too compromising. I see the Vincent as a libertarian who is a pragmatist, who is not a hardcore MAGA conservative all across the board. He just wants to live his life. He's working class, and that's about it. He agrees with what his mother says, but maybe not to the level that she wants to go. She wants to go to J6, and she wants him to take him, and that's kind of the story arc as well. So I give it a 6 for story and depth. For emotional impact, I'm going to give it a 7 for the reasons I already mentioned, because of the callbacks to a time that were very, very tenuous. The J6 scene was pretty, I wouldn't say overly emotional, but it invoked a lot of feelings about that date. Because I particularly was in Gettysburg on January 6th. I was in DC on January 5th. I had a meeting up in Gettysburg. I did tours up there, and I was not actually in DC on the 6th, but I wasn't that far away. I was about 2 hours away, and I was getting texts and texts and texts about what was happening. Am I okay? Am I safe? And so all that came into play watching this film. For intangibles, I'm going to give this film also a 7. I thought the acting was very, very good. I thought it was clever. The mannerisms were good. The music was really, really good. The score, and I felt that the acting was pretty spot on. And I think the fact that they made Leah such that she was so desperate and early on, you kind of felt that she was going to go with him regardless of what he felt politically. She just had to come up with a way so that she could basically give herself a pass. But her conviction didn't actually seem that strong, because when he called her on her convictions, she really didn't have any. So it was more this kind of thing where it was based off of narratives and feelings and not really based on any evidence, which he didn't really call her out on, which is what I was pretty much down on this film about that. He could have hit her harder on some points, but I think fair enough that he didn't, because otherwise they would have never probably gotten together again. For watchability, I give this film a 7 as well. I thought it was, again, clever. I'll probably watch it again. My overall rating, I'm going to give this film a 7 as well, for a final score of 13.75, which averages out to 3 stars. And a go with caution for the reasons I just mentioned, because of the kind of film it is. So for my conservative take, and this is a spoiler section, so if you want to skip this over and go in the video here, that's fine. As far as the spoilers in this film, again, I think that the Trump supporter was too watered down. I felt that he was too compromising. I felt that he was too apologetic. I felt that he was the one who was the goofball, and she, Leah, that is the girl, was trying to get him almost like a project to be able to convert him. And he grew a lot as a character. I mean, the film's called The Elephant in the Room, which is a play on the fact that the elephant is a symbol for the Republicans. And the elephant in the room is something that you don't want to talk about, even though it's right there in front of you. And so he essentially is portrayed as the problem, the person that's got to be reformed. And she is the enlightened one. And that's what I had a problem with. So I guess that makes it easier to be viewed by liberals, because they feel like, okay, well, I get it. The guy's nice. He's handsome and this. He's funny. He's charming. He can cook and all that. So what? He's a Trump supporter. He actually agreed with us on the election, that he felt that it was possible that it wasn't stolen. And he concedes on other points about things as well. He did say that he felt that they should be there, or they had the right to be there peacefully, but that he didn't agree with, of course, the violence of J6. So there was that. And I would say that would be the main thing I would say about this film that I didn't really care for, was the fact that he was too watered down. But in the defense of the director, he couldn't have made him too hardcore, because they never would have realistically gotten back together. And at the end of the film, again, this is going to be a spoiler, but we're in the spoiler section. They end up working it out, and I think it almost works. My wife didn't think it worked, but I give it a pass because they were not that hardcore ideologically or even spiritually or religiously, because they didn't have a conviction, let's say, of abortion, and that, or let's say gay marriage. There was no spiritual discernment on his part for sure. So he was okay to come along with her on those issues. So in that regard, I think it could work in this situation, especially given the fact that she came across as increasingly or exceedingly desperate and wanting a relationship, lonely, and all that. And the last thing I will say is this. There's one scene that my favorite scene in the film is the scene where Leah and her friend who is living with her, he is a gay man, and they're friends. And he's basically telling her, I'm only here because you're lonely, and that you want me to help you and all these things, but I'm not, all I am to you is a project. And so he was going to leave and not be her friend. But then they had a discussion, and then he said, you know what, on second thought, I think I do believe that you do like me. So I'll stick around to help you with your workouts, because she's helping him work out, lose weight. And so he said, well, I will continue to do this workout with you and still be your friend. And he was kind of bantering with her. And then at the end, she said, I'll take it. And I thought that was really, really, I think that was a really, really soft moment there. And it reeked of desperation and empathy for both of them, these two sort of lost souls, so to speak. And I just thought it was very charming in that regard. And that moment to me was very, very good, beyond the actual relationship with Vincent and Leah. So let me know what you guys think about the film, The Elephant in the Room. Are you conservative? Did you watch it? Did you like it? Are you a liberal? Did you watch it? Did you like it? And let me know what you think about how I framed it in terms of the conservative and the liberal getting together. But they really weren't conservative that hard, and they really weren't that liberal if they really thought about the issues. So in that way, I think it worked. But the point of the film is, and I think what Eric, the director, wanted to do was to show how difficult it is in today's age, December 2020 into January 2021. The country hadn't been that divided probably since the 60s. I think he wanted to put that out there in a way that was in your face and let people talk about it and discuss it so we could actually heal as a nation. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. I'd be curious to know what you think. And if you like what you're doing on this channel, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.